Hey everyone, welcome to Cross the Ditch and See. My name is Laura and I'm so glad you're here today. If you recall in a couple of the first videos that I posted, my goal for this channel is to help show people that no matter where they live at and no matter at what point they are in life, that it is perfectly possible to grow food for them and their families. And so it doesn't matter if you live on 50 acres of land or if you have a quarter-acre lot in the city or you live in an apartment. No matter where you live, it is possible to grow food for you and your family. So today I want to show you how you can grow a small fall garden, even if you live in an apartment and you don't have any land to plant any food in. You can just grab you some nursery pots from a local nursery company that sells plants, or you can run down to your local big box store or local farm store and buy some little nursery pots or flower pots and plant some seeds in them and have a little fall garden. Or even if you can't afford to go buy nursery pots, you can save little like butter containers or sour cream containers, Cool Whip containers, any type of like sturdy container. You can save it and use it as a nursery pot to plant your seeds in. All you need to do is poke some holes in the bottom of it and in the side of it to help let the water drain out of it. That way you don't drown your seeds and your roots don't sit in a bunch of water and end up making them rot. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to plant some lettuce in some nursery pots and a couple other little things. All right, y'all bear with me. It is nighttime, sunset's pretty early, and I just got home from work a short time ago, so I'm working with very limited light. As a matter of fact, the lighting is actually my grow light, so serving a dual purpose today. So I'm going to plant some lettuce. I'm trying to find my seeds. Plant some lettuce. I'm going to plant some kale because my family loves kale. And I'm also going to plant some radish in some smaller containers. So when I usually plant my seedlings, I use like a little 6-cell pack, maybe a little bit bigger, like this one right here. It's a little bit taller. But this is usually how I start my seeds when I'm getting ready to transplant to the garden. I acquired a lot of these by buying plants and stuff over the years, and I just save them. So if you buy a plant from a store or a nursery, don't throw these away. Don't throw these little cups away. Save them because you can use them to start seeds. And even some of them, there's a few lettuces that I like to plant that you can grow in a pot as small as this one. It's like a drinking cup size. So that's why I say you don't have to have anything big. If you have a full-size nursery pot, like that big or so, you can definitely plant a lot of stuff in that. You can even plant onions and garlic, things like that in pots that size, and keep them watered and fed all throughout the winter. That way come spring and early summer, they'll be ready to harvest too. So let's get started. I'm going to use some of these little cups that I bought. I bought these off of Amazon. I got like a 10 pack for, I don't even know if it was like $5, maybe less. And these are really good for starting tomato seeds in, because I want my tomatoes to be pretty well established and big, and like, I don't know how big that is, like 18 inches tall or something. Maybe a foot tall when I get ready to transplant them so I can bury them like I showed you in another video. But I'm actually going to use this to grow some of my Tom Thumb lettuce. Tom Thumb lettuce does not have a very deep root base. Most of your lettuces do not have very deep root bases, so you can plant them in smaller containers like this one. Said a while ago, y'all bear with me because I'm working in a very limited area so we can have some good lighting. But I'm just going to use some really good potting mix. If you want to go the organic route, you go the organic route. If you want to just buy whatever you can afford or use whatever you have laying around, go that route. It is not my place to judge what kind of soil you decide to use. I try to do my stuff, as I call, mostly organic. There are some things that are not fully organic that I have to use sometimes, or I may not have access to it at the time that I need it, so I just use what I can get my hands on. And that is perfectly okay. All right, so I have 5 cups here, filled 3/4 the way, maybe just a little bit more with dirt. Now I'm going to grab my lettuce. So here's my Tom Thumb lettuce. You can see they're holding that whole lettuce in their hand, so it does not get that big. So you can definitely start it in a pot this size, and then if you feel like maybe the roots are getting bound up, or if you feel like it just needs a little bit more space, then you can definitely transplant it to a bigger pot. That's no problem. Another place to buy nursery pots and stuff, or flower pots, is online. If you don't have access to them at the local level, you can also go online to buy them. There's a ton of greenhouse supply companies that you can find online, and of course everybody likes to shop on Amazon, and I've gotten a lot of my nursery pots off of Amazon too when I wasn't able to find them at the local level. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my seeds. Try not to dump a whole handful out like I normally do. And let's see if I can turn you. Y'all ignore the mess behind me. There we go. And you can't see that the best in the world, sorry. But I'm just going to drop a seed in each cup. And the seed doesn't require to be covered a lot, like not even by 1/4 inch. So I just kind of press it in with my finger. I don't even dig a hole for it. I just press it in with my finger and then just brush some dirt over top of it to cover it. And then once I do this, I'm just going to give it a good water. So this lettuce, the heads grow small. It doesn't have a really deep root base. So this is something in a smaller garden, your container gardens, this is something that you could grow in a sunny window in your house. Or if you just have like some front steps, you can set these containers out on your front steps and keep them watered, because in case you didn't know, anytime you plant something in containers, it is the dirt dries out a lot faster than what the ground would. So you have to stay on top of keeping them watered, especially on warmer days. But you could grow this in a sunny window. You could grow this out on a balcony. If you have a flower box, you could plant these in the flower box in the window. You could, if you live in an apartment, you could put these on your front steps or your front little stoop. And then in a few short weeks, let's see, how fast does this one grow? This lettuce requires 4 to 8 hours of full sun a day. Likes to grow in temperatures 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually germinates within 7 days. And it's frost hardy, so it'll do good in the wintertime. You should be able to harvest this maybe in like 30-45 days. Doesn't really say. I know my romaine lettuce that I grow, I can usually start harvesting it in like 30-45 days. So I feel like this will be pretty close to it. I have some of this growing in my raised beds out back, and it is doing really well, and it's almost to the point where I can start harvesting some of it. But it's that simple. And you don't have to have a field behind your house to grow this. You can literally grow these in pots. So that is my lettuce. Let's see. I'm going to use this and I'm going to plant some kale. Now kale does have a little bit more of a root base, so even though I'm starting it in a pot this size, I'm going to end up needing to transplant this to a little bit bigger pot. Let me go grab one just to show you. So I would probably transfer, like if I were growing romaine lettuce, to a pot a little bit larger, like this one. And then my kale, I would probably put, this is like your standard size flower pot. So imagine this, a container of sour cream. I know it's a weird way to think of it, but that's the only thing I can think of, next to this pot. So I would end up transplanting my kale to this little bit bigger pot. I don't have enough dirt to fill this right now, enough pot and soil, so that's why I'm gonna start it in this container like this, and then when I can get to the store to get me some more pot and soil, I'll transplant it to this. Scooch my chair back up. Actually, go ahead and put it in this one. Put it in a little bit bigger container. That way, if it takes me a while to get to the store, and this plant grows a little bit faster now that the temperatures are cooling off, then it will get bound up. And it may do just fine in the pot this big. We'll have to see. I might give it a test, see how it does. I organize my seeds. I have a bunch of seeds, and I organize them in little plastic baggies, labeled with what type of seeds are in there. So this is some Siberian kale, and I'm just going to put my seeds right down in there. Just a gentle press into the soil, cover my soil, or cover my seeds up, and I'll give it a good water here in just a minute. So if you want to plant radish, you can do something similar. Get like a flower pot. Hello again. You can get a flower pot. You would definitely want to go with something a little bit bigger, though once again radish, depending upon what kind you get. I like the round the round radish more so than I like the long, like icicle style radish. I prefer more of the globe style. So in a pot like this, in a flower pot the size of my head, I could put dirt in here, and I wouldn't even have to fill the whole thing up with dirt. I could even just go halfway, maybe a little over half, and plant my seed. And you wouldn't just plant one radish in here. You could probably fit, dare I say, 10 or more in here, because you would just kind of put them maybe about an inch and a half apart, kind of go in a circle, and then maybe come to the middle and plant maybe 3 more. So in this one pot filled maybe just a little over halfway with dirt, you could get, you know, 10 or more radish out of this pot. You could probably grow 2 onions in this pot, maybe 2 heads of garlic in this pot also. So it's completely possible, even if you don't have raised bed gardens or a yard to put your raised bed gardens in, or to till up land because you don't have land. You can get you some flower pots, some nursery pots. They don't have to be fancy like this and all decorative. They can be your standard black nursery pots that are just made with the sturdy plastic that you can buy in bulk and purchase them pretty cheap as well. You can just use something like that and start growing your own food on your front steps, or just sitting outside your back door on the patio, or if you have like an apartment balcony, you can do that. So I encourage you, no matter where you live, to get you some nursery pots, or if you can't afford to buy the nursery pots, then just save up your Cool Whip containers and your butter containers and sour cream and whatever else kind of plastic containers you may have laying around. Poke some drainage holes in them. If this were a tub of butter, then I would, poke some holes in the side every few inches. Just tap them in there, and maybe 1 or 2 on the bottom to help water drain out. And get you a bag of pot and soil, and get you some seeds and plant. Grow your own food. See what you can grow, and maybe you'll have such wonderful success with it that the garden bug will bite you like it did me, and you'll dream of having your own big great garden one day. So just to add on to that just a little bit more, I don't want you to think that you're stuck with the basics in these pots of growing your lettuce and your radish and your spinach and your kale, things like that. You can grow anything in a pot. Right here, let's see, what do I have? I have cabbage here. So I would go a little bit bigger than this pot, and I would plant 1 cabbage in this pot, and I would keep it well watered. But you can grow your own cabbage. You can grow cauliflower and broccoli in pots. I've actually done that before and had really great success. Actually, where I live at right now, our soil is really sandy, and for some reason my tomatoes just do not like the dirt where we live. So I actually do not plant any of my tomato plants in the ground. They all grow in pots, and you've seen that in previous videos. Down the side of my house, I have nursery pots sitting there, and there's tomatoes growing out of them. And even in the front of our house right now, I have some tomato plants growing. You can even grow potatoes in pots. You would need a large nursery pot to do that in, or even grow bags. Those are a new, I say a new thing. They've been around for a while, but that's something that you're starting to see more, are grow bags. But you can even plant potatoes, or plant a potato in a grow bag or in a nursery pot, and watch it grow. Or like a 5-gallon bucket, just drill those drainage holes into it, and put your potato in there and watch it grow. And when it comes around to probably about February, March-ish time frame, I will show you guys how to do that, because that's when I'll start planting the potatoes here. But you can grow anything in pots. You can even grow during the summer. You can grow your cucumbers. In the spring, you can even plant beans and stuff in pots, and just have something for it to trellis up. That way it doesn't take up, a whole bunch of space on the ground. But I mean, the possibilities are endless. So like I said a while ago, I encourage you to start growing your own food. Get you some pots, or save you some containers from the kitchen, drill little holes into them, put some good pot and soil in it, and plant your seeds, water them, and sit them in the sunshine and watch them grow. And when you go to harvest that food for yourself and for your family, the flavor is going to be far superior to anything that you've had from the grocery store. And you're also going to have that feeling of satisfaction in your heart saying, I grew that. So I encourage you to give it a try. If you don't have land to do a tilled bed or a raised garden bed, or you just don't really want to mess with that, just get you a few containers, any kind of container really, and plant some seeds. You will not I cannot talk tonight. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. It is a wonderful feeling. Well, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day, and please come back to see me again.